Okay, so this meeting is being live streamed. We received this message.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, Gaurav. Are we going to wait for another 5 minutes or because still people are joining in?
You want to wait for another 5 minutes?
Yeah, because we have reached 30.
Okay.
So let's wait for 5 more minutes and sharp 2:15 we start.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone present here today on this platform of Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube for this e-Raila organized by our club, Rotary Club of Akurdi. I welcome all the guests, participants, and speakers who took time from their routine and are here in large numbers. We expect this seminar will be a very valuable thing to all the youth present here. Our Rotract Club of Shahu College Rotractors have worked hard to make this event possible. I will now call our President, Rotarian Gaurav Sharma, to take the rally forward.
Good afternoon, everybody. I welcome all the Rotractors and other youngsters who have joined us today. In spite of a Sunday afternoon, they have made it a point to attend. That shows their willingness and commitment. Raila is a platform on which the youngsters get to learn all the skills that they'll require tomorrow to be good leaders. They'll be hearing it from the horse's mouth. All professionals who are already in the field, who have put in years and perhaps even decades. And you get to connect with them directly. There's no other better platform than this. Today's topics have also been chosen carefully to give the maximum impact in this short time that is available with us. And these skills will help you to build up your career, to navigate the complex corporate world. And there's an ocean of knowledge available with our Rotarians, and they'll love to share it with you. Not only now, but they're available even afterwards. And if all goes well, perhaps we'll have one more Raila like this, maybe physical, by the beginning of next year. We are hoping for the best. In the meantime, I'll not take much of your time and directly hand it over to Aarti to proceed further, so that you get to hear maximum from the people who are presenting the topic. Over to you, Aarti.
Yeah. Now I would like to call Rotarian Juhi to introduce our first speaker for today, Rotarian Jeetu Sharma.
Hi, everyone. I would just like to confirm if I'm audible properly.
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you. So, hello and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rotractor Juhi Ramdeke, and I take immense honor and pleasure in introducing you all to our guest speaker, Rotarian Jitendra Sharma. Mr. Sharma is a marketing professional who has a double master's degree in the field of marketing and computer management. He not only is highly educated, but has also an experience of over 28 years and has worked in several countries around the globe. In the past, he was connected with the global multinational corporation called as Kimberly-Clark and was managing 11 different countries. At the moment, as we speak, he is now in advisory and consulting. Mr. Sharma and his family have had a long history of participation and administration with the Rotary organization, serving over 40 years in Rotary and 10 years of his life in Rotract. He was awarded as the outstanding president back in the 90s and was elected as the president for the first full Rotary year of the Rotract Club of Akurdi in 2007. Speaking of the Rotract district, Mr. Sharma has been a part of it since the past 12 years, and right now he also works for Rotary at a global level, being the director of the Rotary Global History Fellowship Program. Mr. Jitendra Sharma has put in immense efforts in working closely with our youth for several co-curricular activities in order to benefit their personal development and has played a vital role in initiating and mentoring numerous Rotract and Interact clubs. On this very note, I would like to request Mr. Sharma to please address our audience. Over to you, Mr. Sharma.
Thank you, Rotractor Juhi, and thank you for that introduction. And welcome to all of you for this session. And yes, it starts with me. So what I'll do is let me start sharing my screen. And if somebody can just confirm that you're seeing my screen. See, always, as our President Gaurav also mentioned, we always look forward to meet personally and have these sessions physically. In today's environment, the best we can do is do it virtually, but at least you all are comfortably sitting in your homes on a Sunday afternoon and discussing. One of the challenges is, yes, having a lot of interaction, but let's see how much of interaction we can try and do that. So can somebody just reconfirm that you're able to see my screen well?
Yes,
Okay.
we are able to
Thanks,
see.
Aarti. Okay, so the topic which I'm going to speak to you over the next 25 to 30 minutes is the entrepreneur in you. Now it's a Sunday afternoon. Some of you are relaxing, maybe watching some movies. Anybody wants to unmute and just recognize which movie this is? This is the shot from a movie. Yes, anybody?
English, English, yeah.
Yes, this is English. And so why am I asking you about this? If you all recollect, those who have seen the movie, I presume a number of you have seen this movie. There is this particular scene where, this person is there and there is something written on the board which says entrepreneur. Now, any person wants to unmute and just describe what this whole scene was all about for the benefit of the others? Yeah, anyone? Nobody, all shy?
Is this mostly for the Rotaractors benefit?
Anyone, everybody is an audience here.
Yes. So this was in relevance to when he was describing about the work that Devi does,
Yes.
the laddu business that she's doing. So that is where this word came from.
So this is basically, where a group of foreign students come to learn English in the US. And one of the students, and everybody is describing on what they do. And one of the students who is portrayed by Devi, says that she, makes laddus at home. And that's where he says, oh, you are an entrepreneur. And that's where he explains, the teacher, that entrepreneur is someone who runs his or her own business. And, Shashi is the name of the lead actor. And that's why he says, Shashi, you are an entrepreneur. So what it means is, yes, some of us could be having some fixed ideas when we hear the word entrepreneur. So let's understand what really is this entrepreneur word. In fact, the word entrepreneur itself comes from French. It is based on a French verb, which is pronounced as entreprendre, which means to undertake. So entrepreneur means to undertake. So an entrepreneur is an individual who creates a new business and bears most of the risks, at the same time enjoys most of the rewards. The process of setting up this business is known as entrepreneurship. The entrepreneur is commonly seen as an innovator, a source of new ideas, goods, services, and business or procedures. Entrepreneurs are a very important lot. They play a key role in the economy, using the skills and initiative necessary to anticipate needs and bringing new ideas to the market. Entrepreneurship that proves to be successful in taking on the risks of creating a startup is rewarded with profits, fame, and continued growth opportunities. At the same time, entrepreneurship that fails results in losses and less prevalence in the markets for those involved. Now, I'm sure you would have heard stories of a number of successful entrepreneurs. So let me start by sharing a couple of stories of successful entrepreneurs. Anybody can guess who this famous celebrity is?
Oprah Winfrey.
That is correct. So this is Oprah Winfrey. And Oprah Winfrey has been one of the most amazing modern rags to riches stories of all times. As you are probably aware, Oprah is the richest African American of the 21st century. And with a net worth of over $3 billion, she is regarded as arguably the most influential woman in the world. Now, her incredible success is all the more impressive considering her rough upbringing. The daughter of an unmarried teen who worked as a housemaid, Oprah grew up in extreme poverty. Her family was so poor that as a child, Oprah was teased at school for wearing dresses made out of potato sacks. She also was the victim of sexual abuse at the hands of family members, which she discussed with TV viewers during a special episode of her show. Oprah's first big break was her gig at the local black radio station. Station managers were impressed with her oration and passion, leading Oprah to work her way up the ranks to bigger radio stations, eventually resulting in her appearing on television as well. It was actually Sun Times movie critic Roger Ebert, who you see on the screen, who convinced Oprah to sign the deal that changed her life and launched, as we all know it, the Oprah Winfrey Show. And the rest, folks, as they say, is history. So this is one of the successful entrepreneurs, Oprah Winfrey. Now, I'm sure you'll have seen the movie Tare Zameen Pe, and then Amir Khan in one of those scenes ask a question ki Mickey Mouse ka baap kaun? So who was the inventor of Mickey Mouse? That was Walt Disney. And this is Walt with Mickey Mouse on the screen. Now, when Walt Disney started off as a farm boy, drawing cartoon pictures of his neighbors' horses just for fun, when he was older, Walt tried to get a job as a newspaper cartoonist, but was unable to find one and ended up working in an art studio where he created advertisements for newspapers and magazines. Eventually, he grew to work on commercials and became interested in animation, and then opened his own animation company. Disney's first original character creation was Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, but it was officially owned by Universal Pictures because Walt was working under a contract at that time. So when Walt walked out of Universal Pictures after getting a pay cut, he needed to create a replacement to this character, which is how Mickey Mouse came into being. Disney was wildly successful with his animation company, but he wasn't satisfied just with that. He was determined to make the biggest and the greatest theme park ever seen. In fact, he once said to a colleague, "I want it to look like nothing else in the world." One of the biggest entertainment moguls of all time, with an unrelenting spirit and commitment to his vision, Walt Disney is undoubtedly an entrepreneurial all-star. Now, I'm sure you all have had your lunch, but those who aren't, and if you're starting to feel hungry, this is an apple for you. But I'm sure you'll have guessed I'm not talking about, eating an apple, but I am talking about somebody where you can't really make a self-respecting, famous entrepreneurs list without throwing in Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, some of you must be knowing, dropped out of college because his family couldn't handle the financial burden of his education. He unofficially continued to audit classes, living off free meals from the local Hare Krishna temple, and returning Coke bottles for change just to get by. Jobs credited the calligraphy class he stopped on as his inspiration for the Mac's revolutionary typefaces and font design. Jobs went on to have an unbelievable career, eventually forming the Apple Computer Company with his childhood friend and electronics expert Steve Wozniak. Often referred to as the grandfather of the digital revolution, Jobs forever changed the consumer electronics industry. At the time of his death, his net worth was over $8.3 billion, definitely, and his influence will be felt by many generations to come. Now, these were some of big names, and I'm sure you didn't need to guess because you know who they are. But I want y'all to unmute yourself and somebody guess who this person is. Yes, anybody? Yes, come on, participants, students. Can you guess who this person is? Nobody? Open to all, Rotractors, Rotarians.
Paytm founder.
Yeah. Okay. So I think Shashikant, you said it. So this is Vijay Shekhar Sharma. And if you have not heard it, or if you have heard his name comes in plenty of publications and financial websites. And the reason is because he's the founder of Paytm. Now, the journey of Vijay Shekhar Sharma has been quite fascinating. He started his adventure in the entrepreneur market by holding a bachelor's degree in electronics and communication engineering. One of the interesting facts about Vijay Shekhar Sharma is that when he was in college itself, he built a website which was called indiasite.net, and this website sold for $1 million. And this happened just within 2 years of his running the website. The journey never stopped there. In the year 2000, he started another internet service, this time to fulfill the requirements of news, cricket scores, ringtones, exam results, and various other topics, and he called this 197. It was after this that Paytm came into the scene in the year 2010, and 197 was the parent company behind Paytm. And the success of this system has been very influential on many entrepreneurs out there in the market. It was in the year 2017 that Vijay became the youngest billionaires in the Forbes billionaire list. And the year before that, he was also recognized as the Entrepreneur of the Year in 2016. Okay, any of the students can guess who this person is?
Ritesh Agrawal.
Yes, and who is Ritesh Agarwal, Mrinal?
CEO of Oyo Rooms.
That is
Oyo,
correct.
founder.
Yes, so he is the founder and CEO of Oyo, and many consider Ritesh Agarwal's story to be one of the best stories of an entrepreneur because it is one of the clearest examples of having a business mind and constantly pushing yourself to the edge without holding anything back. And this is exactly what Ritesh did. After graduating from school, moving to Delhi to pursue his dream for college in the year 2011. Within 2 years of going through college years, he dropped out and then got selected for a fellowship, which was called as Peter Thiel Fellowship. The business mind started with booking budget hotels, and this program became one of the winners of the 2013 Thiel Fellowship programs. And after receiving $100,000, this app, Oyo, began to start seeing success. And Ritesh Agarwal became the youngest self-made billionaire after Kylie Jenner in the whole world. As you can tell, even not having any prior education or anything to support the foundation of the things Ritesh accomplished in his life, he found an idea and worked on that idea to see what it is now today and in the world. I'm sure many of you would be guessing who this is. Anybody wants to unmute and say who this person is? Yes, who wants to guess?
Baiju Ravindran.
That is correct. Baiju Ravindran, founder CEO of Baiju's. Now, while many people take a conventional route to see any success in business, Baiju Ravindran was not one of them. Born in a village in Kerala, he is the man behind Baiju's, the learning app. There are plenty of learning apps in the market, but what is it that makes this one much better than the rest? It is the idea of running a system. Baiju Ravindran is a strong believer in making people know what they are doing. That's why the tagline for this online firm reads, "Fall in love with learning." He pushes the idea of teaching the students and then giving them a route to crack the exam. Baiju is a man of many sides, but the one that gets the topmost priority seems to be the teacher in him, Teacher Baiju. This is one of the great examples for the people who want to enter the field of entrepreneurship. It is what you learn and apply that matters. Proper learning only comes after excellent teaching. Once you know what you are reading, and then you are going to have no trouble figuring out rest of the road. Baiju's learning app is now worth $5.5 billion, and all thanks to this man behind the wheel. So I give you certain glimpses and examples of successful entrepreneurs. Sorry. So the question is, what does it take to be an entrepreneur and a successful entrepreneur? An aspiring entrepreneur is able to identify various problems to solve. One business adage dictates that a company's product or service needs to solve a specific pain point, either for another business or from a consumer group. Through the identification of a problem, an aspiring entrepreneur is able to build a business around solving that problem. Successful startups solve a specific pain point for other companies or for the public in general. This is known as adding value within the problem. And only through adding value to a specific problem or a pain point does an entrepreneur become successful. Now, I am not certain on how many of you will go ahead and start a startup or start a business of your own. And it might also not be very immediate, but maybe, 5 years, 10 years, 12 years down the line, sometime in the future. But that should not stop any of you in not thinking about the entrepreneur in you. I believe, and so should you, that there is an entrepreneur in each one of us. And it does not need to be an entrepreneur who always starts his own business or a startup. It is more about having the mindset of an entrepreneur in you wherever you are. And possibly, hence, some of you at least must have come across this concept of intrapreneur. Entrepreneurs are usually proactive and self-motivated individuals who have the skill and the mindset to become a leader. An entrepreneur can be defined as a person with entrepreneurial characteristics who is employed within a large organization. Entrepreneurship is a system and a process which allows its employees to develop their entrepreneurship skill and mindset and act like an entrepreneur even while working within the company. Entrepreneurship is very close to entrepreneurship, where people can learn and polish their skills while working within the company. And then they can start their own business later on sometime. And again, there are a number of examples of market success stories owing to such entrepreneurs, not necessarily all entrepreneurs. In fact, I'm sure the younger generation here recognizes what this is. So this is the Sony Playstation. It might be the best-selling console in the world today, but Sony's PlayStation only happened because a junior employee tinkered with his daughter's video game, the Nintendo. In fact, this person was called Ken Kutaragi. He spent hours trying to make the console more powerful and user-friendly, but his idea was reportedly rebuffed by many Sony bosses because they were hesitant at joining a gaming industry which they considered a waste of time. One senior employee spotted the value in Ken Kutaragi's innovative product, and the rest, as they say, is history. So when Nintendo broke up its partnership with Sony and made alliance with Philip, Sony appointed Ken Kutaragi to look after the projects of Nintendo and whatever he was working on. And that is where Ken saw the opportunity in the PlayStation gaming project and kept working on it and finally launched the video game in 1994. Now, I know many of you, number of times in a day, go to Facebook and look at this like button and use the like button. But this also came out of just some entrepreneurial thought by Facebook. In fact, Facebook conducts an annual one-night competition and they call it hackathon, where programmers and coders work on ideas to produce something new. And it started in 2007 when they developed a prototype Facebook like button. And since then, its history and like button is always there. Even Google allows time for personal projects. In fact, some of Google's best projects have come out of this, their 20% time policy, where 20% of the time you can work on your own projects. And one of these initiatives is something which you probably use maybe multiple times a day, which is Gmail. Paul Buchheit, the creator of Gmail, started on this project in 2001 and worked up to its launch, which was on 1st of April 2004. Gmail became the first email with a successful search feature and the option to keep all of your email. I mean, almost 1 GB of storage. You don't need to frantically, delete all your old limits to stay under, that limit, your old emails. The initial launch was by invite only, but now it is actually sort of, considered a faux pas not to have an email address ending in, say, gmail.com. Sometimes entrepreneurship also happens by accident. There was this Dr. Spencer Silver, a scientist at 3M, who was attempting to create an extremely strong adhesive to be used in aerospace technology. Instead, he accidentally created a light adhesive that stuck to surfaces well, but didn't leave any nasty residue. So instead of throwing away his idea because it didn't solve the problem at hand, he stuck with it until he found a use for it. And after many years of persistence and spreading the word, it finally clicked with someone else, a person called Art Fry, who was another 3M scientist. And he thought back to one of Silver's seminars, and they began to develop a product together. And that is how product which we use on a regular basis came. Anybody wants to guess what that product is from 3M? Yes, can anybody guess this product from 3M with a light adhesive? Nobody? Okay, can somebody just unmute and say that we are still connected so that I know, yes, everybody is listening?
Yes, sir, we are connected.
Okay, but y'all don't know what this 3M product is, okay? I'll bring it on screen. Post-it notes. I'm sure all of you have used post-it notes, right? So that is how post-it notes was born. It was out of a failure. Instead of creating a strong adhesive, they created a light adhesive, and that is how it was created. In the early 1900s, a factory worker at Swan Vesta, the match company, went to the senior management and told them that he had an idea that could save the business millions of pounds in production costs. He was ignored, with the management unbelieving that a lowly factory worker could actually have ideas of such value. After months of pushing and persuasion, however, the worker managed to get a few minutes in front of the board and a skeptical audience who were ready to laugh at his sort of, $1 million idea. What was that idea? To put the sandpaper strike on only one side of the matchbox rather than both. Revolutionary. And as any Swan matchbox will now prove, the idea worked and the business saved millions. Like we say, sometimes the best ideas are strikingly simple. I'm sure all of you have heard of Amazon Prime, and some of you are even subscribers to Amazon Prime. Did you know that the part of Amazon's core identity, Prime, is actually the product of intrapreneurship within the ranks of Amazon's employees? Amazon had an offer of super saver shipping for customers, but this wasn't giving them the desired effect. And Amazon was seeing themselves falling behind their internet rivals, which was eBay. A team of Amazon employees, led by former Amazon Vice President Greg Greeley, formulated the prime idea, believing that customers would pay more to be a part of an exclusive membership that gave them just a 2-day delivery. Independently, employees across the business were expressing the entrepreneurial spirit that Bezos and Amazon encouraged, with an Amazon engineer called Charlie Ward submitting his idea to offer this exclusive shipping as a part of an annual membership to the Amazon Digital Employee Suggestion Box. So back then, 2-day shipping was seen something of an indulgence. And Bezos seized this initiative. He invited a load of Amazon employees to his Seattle boathouse, wherein they announced Prime, and they worked to launch this. Today, Amazon Prime generates over $19 billion per year on subscriptions alone. And, as I say, at least 1 in every 3 Americans has a Prime membership. So not bad for a simple idea. Founded in Seattle back in 1971, Starbucks went on a mission to become its customers, as I said, third place to go. That is a relaxing and comfortable environment in between work and home. The mission was founded on selling not just coffee, but a unique customer experience. In 2011, when one smart barista decided to add to that experience by writing the names of customers on cups, it quickly got back to head office. And months later, this first name basis approach became standard at every single Starbucks store. The company even produced a televised advertisement to promote its new personal approach. And the advertisement read as, "From now on, we won't refer to you as tall latte or a mocha, but as your folks intended by your name. It is only a little thing. We are Starbucks. Nice to meet you." Today, this little thing happens almost 4 billion times a year at almost 30,000 locations worldwide. Not a bad way to perk up a daily grind. And possibly coming to my last example, in the mid 1980s, Frito-Lays were going through a difficult time. So the CEO at that point of time, Roger Enrico, he announced a new initiative for all their 300,000 employees to act like a owner. And one of these employees was called Richard Montanez. Now, Richard Montanez had dropped out of school in the 4th grade after struggling with English language. At the time of this announcement by the CEO, Montanez was a janitor in the company. He was earning around $4 an hour. But he didn't believe anything as being just a janitor. Montanez saw Enrico's announcement as an opportunity. So he called up the CEO's office, and the CEO, impressed by his initiative, agreed for a meeting. Richard was picking up snacks at his local store when he noticed that there was no specific product catering to Latinos, Latin Americans. So he managed to grab some Cheetos before they had been dusted with all the cheese, etc., and the flavoring. He took those Cheetos home and covered them in a homemade spicy mix. Richard then put these Cheetos with his mix in 100 different bags, iron sealing each one of them, and also hand drawing a logo on each individual bag. He packed them up and brought with them to the meeting with the Frito-Lay's board. At the board meeting, Enrico and all the executives were impressed by Richard's idea. The CEO said to Richard, "Put your mop down. You are coming with us." And so Flaming Hot Cheetos is now one of Frito-Lay's most successful launches ever. And Montanez became the vice president of multicultural sales and community promotions at PepsiCo, amassing a personal fortune of over $20 million. In fact, his story has become so famous that it is set to be made into a film called Flaming Hot, which is going to be directed by Eva Longoria. In his own words, Richard Montaner says, if you are afraid of looking foolish, you are never going to achieve anything great. So to conclude and coming to my last slide, I would like to say to each one of you that irrespective of what stage of life you are today, keep that spirit of entrepreneurship burning in you. Each one of us is an entrepreneur from within, and hence keep focused on the entrepreneur in you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your patient listening. I'll stop sharing now. I'll hand it back to Rotarian Aarti to take it forward for question and answers in case any.
Thank you, Rotarian Jiten Sharma. It was a really nice session. I personally enjoyed every bit of it. And quizzes always keep every audience binded. That's one of the very interesting part of it. And certainly knowing about, I, though being an entrepreneur, could learn so much today. So thank you so much. Yes, Rotractors are here. Other participants are also here. In case anybody has a question for this, they can come up, please.
Yeah, no questions. In fact, the first step towards entrepreneurship is being ready to ask questions.
Anybody? So can we conclude this session?
Yeah,
First
sure.
session for the day.
Yeah, and
Okay,
in case anybody has any
yeah.
afterthought, any after questions, you can always put it in the chat box. You can always take it up later also.
Yeah. Yes, with this, now I would like to request Rotractor Roma to introduce our second speaker for today's session, second session.
Yes, ma'am. I would like to confirm if I'm audible.
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, you are.
Okay. So good afternoon to everyone. I'm here to introduce to you all our second speaker for the day, Mr. Nayan Patel. Mr. Nayan Patel is currently the CEO at AS Steel India, where he is helping the third largest steel manufacturing company to grow and stay on the leading edge of technology. Mr. Nayan has studied from the University of Brunel, England, from where he earned his bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. Since then, he has amassed over 25 years of experience across global operations and product range. He has worked in product development and testing in UK and development and CMM controller in USA. Over the past few years, Mr. Nayan has been a part of leadership teams and has made notable contribution in improving team efficiency. He has also started professional development programs in Pune. We are indeed privileged to hear from him today. And without wasting any further time, I would like Nayan sir to please start with the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Roma, for the introduction. So let's get started. Let's see if I can share my screen. And okay, I hope you guys can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so from Jitendra ji, we saw entrepreneurship what the stories, successful stories of entrepreneurs. Now, what I would like to talk to you about is a little bit, maybe one step or two steps below that, is what is it actually required in the professional world? You know, are you guys ready for the professional world? So, sorry, my presentation is a bit more old-fashioned, you could say. So what I would like to talk about is, you know, why this presentation. So I'll show you a slide. Maybe we can have some interaction in that slide. What the professional world is looking for, interpersonal skills, something to think about. Are you after a job or a career? So it'll be interesting to see if you guys know the difference, or we should know the difference. And what skill should we learn? You know, there's a lot of skills which we need to acquire. What are more important than others? And self-worth. There's also always, you know, even in entrepreneurship, what are we worth and how do we go around increasing that worth? So let's start with this ranking of attributes employers look for in a candidate. Now, can somebody tell me what kind of attributes would employers look at? Any guesses?
Confidence is one level of confidence.
Okay. Any others? No? Okay. So let me just start this. So communication, teamwork, problem solving, learning, initiative, practical knowledge, cultural competency, analytics, technology, and empathy. Now, these are not ranked in order. These are just a list of attributes employers look for. Now, this is regardless of discipline. You know, you may want to say engineers, or you want to go into finance or whatever it is. This is a mixture of, if you ask employers at HR, the heads of HR, they will say that these are the attributes they look for. Okay. Now ask yourself, you know, how many of these do we up today as students or in academia? How many attributes are we picking up? So then on the other side of it, qualities. So these are qualities of students or future employees. Any idea what kind of qualities? Can anybody guess? Can anybody unmute the mic and tell me? Everybody's very quiet. Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Right. So loyalty, integrity, sincerity, adaptability, kindness, patience, persistent, emotional intelligence, tolerance. So these are all, again, a list. Now, you could say, what's the difference between attributes and qualities? So, you know, if we take an example of an attribute as communication, many different parts of communication exist. So one of them could be verbal communication, could be non-verbal. So the attributes of that part. So, you know, loyalty, things like that. How do you learn such things? This is a very important part of it. How do you show loyalty to somebody, an employee particularly? Okay, so those are the things we should go through and think about. Now, in the next slide, there are 16 different types of attributes or qualities. Right now, I'm not going to read them all out, but what I will do is at this part of our journey, these are the ones which are going to be the most important, you know? So adapt change. When you get a job, you need to adapt change. Communication is absolutely key in anything, you know, it's not just a job. Communication is always the basis of a lot of things. Self-improvement, emotional connections, effective listening. Again, we as humans are not necessarily the best of listeners. So that's a skill which we need to acquire as well. Being collaborative, i.e. working together, not necessarily as a team, but maybe other parts of the departments, etc. Innovative and taking initiative. So some of these I will talk to you in a bit more detail as the slides go on. So interpersonal skills, I think we've touched upon the entrepreneurial part of it, but when you say interpersonal skills, these are skills which you should hone, you should have as a person who is going into any field, be it engineers or be it finance or HR, whatever else it is. So assertiveness. Now, I'm not sure if you guys know what assertiveness is, but it is being crisp and clear without having any emotions behind it, without any getting aggressive. So if you're too hard on yourself, that's aggressive. Assertive is the other part of it. Non-verbal communication, listening skills, negotiation. Now you think negotiation is not just about bargaining for money, cheaper vegetables. Negotiation comes in contracts. It could be getting somebody to do something. And then you've got verbal communication, which we're doing now. You've got problem solving, and you've got decision making. Okay, so all these things are part of interpersonal skills. Now, something I'd like to read out to you is strengthening a soft skill is one of the best investments you can make in your career, as they are never going to go out of style. Now, this sentence exists because there's a lot of literature out there, a lot of newspaper articles that because of artificial intelligence, because of computers, that a lot of jobs are going to go out of, not out of fashion, but they're going to be obsoleted, which is not necessarily true. As technology comes, we end up creating different kinds of jobs. Okay, if 10 jobs are obsoleted, 15 other types of jobs are created. So something to think about. Now, I've literally copied and pasted this, but I just wanted you all to know that this is for an engineering career. Now, it's interesting to see what is important in this job to do is communication. Good communication is what's required in the field of engineering. And I'm pretty sure if you change that to any other field, it'd be very similar. So, if you need to be good at communication, you need to be good at problem solving. At the end of the day, something which I'd like to share with you is that we're all taught maths, for example. We're all taught to use maths, where here's a formula, using this formula, solve this problem, okay? Now, I'm sorry to say this, but in life, it doesn't come with a formula. You have to understand the problem and apply a formula which is right, okay? So that's why problem solving, creative problem solving is required. And as you can see, the other parts are collaborative relationships and business acumen, etc., etc. Okay. So, job or career. So, can somebody help me to answer what the difference is in a job or a career? Is there a difference? If so, what is the difference? Anybody want to guess?
Job, I guess, is short term and career is long term.
Thank you, sir.
Like weather and climate, maybe same analogy.
Yeah, very true. Thank you, sir. So a job. So this job is, it's basically a 9-to-5 job where you go. So for example, somebody, say driving a bus or something labor intensive like that. It doesn't have to be just labor intensive, working in the mall, things like that. Or what we call a job. Sure.
Benji?
Sure.
Yeah. Dear youngsters, my sincere appeal to all the youngsters, this session could be very much participative because this is a very, very valuable information Nayan ji is trying to deliver and earlier Jitendra ji has given to you. This can definitely change your life. My request to all participants to be participative. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ashwin. Okay, so as we were saying, job, are you looking for a job or do you want to develop a career? Not everybody is going to be interested in both. Maybe we all start off as a job. So if you take my example, when I was going through similar position as you're in, I wanted to design cars. Excuse me. The only thing I wanted to do was design cars. That's what I could have in my mind. But when I got my first job, it was nothing to do with cars. then I actually realized that I wanted to be an engineer. I wanted to be an engineer in a very innovative field, and ended up building a career out of it. But it started off as a job. Okay, so as Gauravji said, job is very temporary. It's a short-term thing, and a career is something which is long-term. You plan it out, and 9 times out of 10 you end up enjoying it. So how do you know what the difference between a job and a career is? So I've got this little diagram here. So it has marketability, it has talent, it has passion. So these are all the attributes. So if you can see the mixture of all 3 of these is your career, okay? But you can see the offshoots are that if you have talent and market, you get a job. You know, if it's marketability and passion, maybe that you're a fan of that. And if you're a talent and passion, then it could be a hobby, okay? So we all want careers, and we all want careers which are very suitable. We're happy to get up and do things. If we're very lucky, we can do that. And I think some of the people who are speaking today are lucky that we can do what we enjoy and we can help people out. Okay, so to get a career, what should we learn? You know, so again, as I said, because the rise of artificial intelligence, the importance of soft skills cannot be praised highly enough, you know. So one of the things which I mentioned earlier is boost your creative intelligence, okay? I'll tell you in the coming slides what that actually means. Digital and media literacy will be key. Now, I think you guys are probably way ahead of us in this field, but it is going to be, you know, we struggle with it, and I'm glad you guys are ahead of us, but that's something which is required more and more. Okay? Emotional intelligence is something which I think in many places we all need to be more aware of this. I think we're sometimes ignorant about this. Develop workplace collaborations. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. And critical thinking. Now, critical thinking, what is that? Why is it required? I'll tell you. So this is something I think the younger generation is always very good at, is, you know, boost your creative intelligence. What does it actually mean? Well, without reading everything, it's just one of those things where today, if you think about robots and computers and everything else, they cannot solve problems humans can. Humans can very quickly realize that something's not right, you switch it on, change the configurations, etc., and we can fix it. Okay, so, or we can create another innovative ideas which machines can't do today. Now, long paragraph, I know. So again, this is about the same thing. Is we think outside the box. You know, we have this ability to think outside this box. In fact, some people say, why think outside the box? Why do you have to have the box in the first place? But they will be key building blocks for innovation in a company where the product or the business can be helped in many different ways. Okay? You know, I think going back to Jitendraji's presentation, some of these employees were invited to do things, you know, PlayStation, even the Cheetos, etc., etc. They're all part of this. And, you know, the last line is very important for us all, I think, is, you know, it's very easy to put something in the complaint box or a suggestion box, but why can't we make that difference? Why can't we pick it up and say, no, I'm going to solve it. I'm going to make a difference. Okay. This is how entrepreneurs work too. So this is something which I don't really need to tell you people too much about because you're way ahead of it than we are. But, you know, today the world is fueled by technological innovations. Like today, we're live streamed on Facebook and YouTube, which not even 5 years ago anybody could have dreamed about. Okay. Now, the more comfortable you are with this technology, the better it's going to be in terms of your own footprint. Okay. You know, as I said before, all communications, even in the company I'm looking after today, we have marketing teams, we have sales teams, they all have different ways of communicating with their customers, different way of launching products. We now have the same file sharing and screen sharing with design teams across the world. So technology is definitely helping, but it has to be managed, has to be controlled. You know, and all. Okay, the question though is, what is the limit? How far do you take this? You know, it's all very, very technologically advanced, but do we need it all? You know, we have a suggestion where we can email 10,000 people, for example. Let's say 1,000 people would reply saying, I want this and I want that. Do we have the bandwidth to reply to 1,000 emails in a day? So we have to be very careful in how big we go and how much we get ourselves involved with digital marketing. Okay, so emotional intelligence. Can anybody help me in telling me what that means? What is emotional intelligence? Anybody? Anybody there?
Will be able to manage stress.
Sorry, could you repeat that? Couldn't hear it.
Will be able to manage stress.
Manage?
Stress.
Okay, right. Press. Right. So, yes, emotional intelligence is basically being aware of ourselves. Okay. So, what I've done here is I've tried to explain what that means, and it's referred to as EI in many parts of the world. So, this person who has high emotional intelligence will be normally empathetic. Now, empathy is very different to sympathy. Just hope you know that. Integrity and self-awareness. Okay, and you know they usually work very well together with other people too, because they read signs which other people can't read, and they are already prepared for a situation before it actually happens. Okay. Now, why is it so important? Well, it is very important because if you read some of that, it simply put that you can create relationships without any boundaries, and you work with humans. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many machines there are, you will still have human contact. And if you do not have good emotional intelligence, it'll just make your job a lot more harder. Okay. So, as I mentioned to you earlier, I will read this actually because it's very important. With the demand of technological skills is gathering pace, the increase in the need for social and emotional skills will similarly accelerate. Now, I'm not sure if you've read or kept up with this. There's a lot of people who create jobs in technology, but there's a lot of people who are also doing a lot of stuff about coaching and mentoring in different ways, different niches. Now, because of the pandemic, many things have gone electronic. So we're doing online stuff too. So, you could say that because of robots, you're losing manual skill, but you are also creating jobs to cater for the electronics, the programmers, and the people part of it. So, collaboration, workplace collaboration, what does that look like? So the future of work is here and it's collaborative. Now, what does that mean? Well, what we're trying to say is that I think the pandemic has brought the future closer to us, at least maybe by 5-10 years. I know there were many bigger companies who are looking at sending a lot of people working from home because they don't have to maintain big buildings, and et cetera, et cetera. Now the pandemic has almost forced that upon them. Now, even in India, there are so many companies who are now deciding that they're going to leave all the people work from home, which is okay, but that means they have to have a collaborative approach. They have to work together. Okay, technology is allowing you to do that, but the human part of it is also very important. Okay, so if you have to have this ability to work in collaboration. Okay, so as I've just said, there are teams scattered across time zones. And we have to work together. Okay, it would be paramount. We have to understand and adapt. The world is getting complicated. There's so many things thrown at us. As I mentioned, like for example, you will learn about LinkedIn soon. So we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, we have our own company access, etc. So what do we do? What is our main focus? We could get lost in this forest of electronic digital media. So it's very careful that we know what to do and how much to do. Okay. Okay, critical thinking. This is very crucial. Now, what is critical thinking? So if you think, I know that there are computers out there and, you know, there's very, very clever stuff out there. Jitendraji mentioned about, you know, Apple and all the software companies. I mean, they are very, very clever. The artificial intelligence nowadays is amazing. However, who created all that? Humans. So humans will always be the, you know, complex solvers of the problems, etc., etc. And that's at the end of it. Just remember that, you know, no machine is going to be more powerful than human. A critical thinker will suggest innovative solutions, ideas, and take problems by using reason and logic. Yeah? Now, you know, I'm sure you guys have been taught this, but you don't go around solving a problem until you don't give a solution to anything until you know what the problem is. We have suggestions and we try it, but maybe we don't understand what the problem is. Understanding what the problem is, we can give a solution. That's what humans are very good at. Okay. So, as I mentioned, you know, skills which human skills, software skills, are all going to be very, very important for us. And, you know, it's very important to hone these skills, whether you want to make a job out of it or a career out of it. Okay. Now, good news is that you can train yourself. Anybody can train themselves to become a critical thinker. I'm sure there are lots of courses and books and exposure you can go to become a critical thinker. Okay. Does anybody have any questions or any comments so far? Okay, I'll continue. Self-worth. So, can I ask somebody what is important in terms of self-worth? What is self-worth? And, you know, why is it important? Can I ask the first question, what is self-worth? Anybody help me here?
How we see our own selves, that's very important.
Yes.
More than anybody else looking at us and telling us how or perceiving anything about us. It's very important how we look at ourselves.
Very true, because that affects our confidence. Anybody else? Thank you, ma'am.
I think they are the values you give importance to.
Yes, definitely. True. Thank you, sir. Anybody else? So let me start. So appearance, okay. Now, you know, whether we be measured by a number of people or whatever the scale is, what you wear, what kind of attention you receive, etc. But appearance is usually very key. You know, now a prime example of this is military. If you look at military, their appearance is always immaculate because, you know, self-worth. This is very important. Okay. Now, net worth. This isn't just necessarily financial. This is about what you know, material possessions or what your income is. This is something which can come across later date, not today. Who you know in your social circle. This is also very important because we all will need different people in different parts of our life. You know, we will need coaching, we'll need mentoring. At the moment, your teachers, your lecturers are those people, support system, so to speak. But as you get out in the world, you will meet different people, and one way or another, it becomes a network for you to survive in and thrive in. All the entrepreneurs, which Jitandraji mentioned, I'm pretty sure they all have some kind of a social circle and a network, which was part of it. Okay. So continuing on that, what do you do your career? We often judge this by, like say, for example, a stockbroker is considered very, very successful, where a janitor or a teacher isn't. But that's not necessarily correct. This teacher or this janitor, I mean, you saw the example about the Cheetos or the teachers. Teachers can inspire the next generation of entrepreneurs. So just be careful when we do this, that, what do we do? Okay. Now, how to increase this is, first of all, is what you need to do first. Decide what you want to do, and then there's lots of help out there. Contact us, contact me. We can talk about it. And what you achieve. We achieve many things in life. Lots of things, like, for example, a SAT score. Now, that is fine. We achieve a SAT score. It may be irrelevant to the person standing next to you, but for you, that could be making or breaking a career. You take part in a marathon, or you have an athletic challenge. So these are very important, not necessarily for the world, but for you too. As ma'am says, the first thing is about yourself, how you feel. Now, if I achieve 10 kilometers for the first time in my life, that's a big achievement for me. That's going to increase my self-worth a lot than anything else. Okay, so I hope that was clear and has helped. So coming to the end of my slide. Now, I think the last one is here. I want to read this out. It's quite powerful, where the vision is 1 year, we cultivate flowers. Whether vision is 10 years, we cultivate trees. Whether vision is eternity, we cultivate people. Now, think about it. It's very deep, but it's very important too, is have this vision. What do you want to do? Have a long-term vision, and I'm pretty sure it'll be a recipe for success. Okay, so that's the end of my presentation. I hope that was helpful. And if there's any questions, any comments, please let me know.
Thank you. Thank you, Nayan, for such lovely inputs.
Okay, I'll stop sharing.
Any participants, any retractors who have questions, who want to say some points? Because I really found this session so insightful about, how we can look up to now I can probably look up to more qualities in the candidates that I hire up for my work. Yes, others who would want to give us some inputs or have some questions. Okay, Rutuja wants to know how to increase our confidence.
Okay, so I think this is all about what we said about value, self-value. Now, this is a long subject, but I think it depends on, again, it's one of those things, it's a problem. So how do we fix it? We need to understand a bit more in terms of what you want to do, what part of confidence. Is it the way you speak or your image? It's all relative in terms of confidence. So it is not, unfortunately, one paragraph answer. If you want to contact me offline, I can try and help you with that.
Yeah, if I can add to that, Nan.
Sure.
Yeah, so I think, that's the beauty of confidence, because confidence comes from within you. What that means is it's totally controllable in your hands. And it is not something which somebody can take away from you. It is yours, and it's you. The question is, it's not whether you have the confidence or you don't have the confidence. It's whether you recognize that and do you value it, because everybody is confident. It's only certain situations are in such a way where you self-doubt yourself. The self-doubt comes, you start doubting yourselves, whether you'll be able to meet that situation, whether it's a particular exam, it's an interview, that is something which sort of, you feel that it's denting your confidence, but actually it's not, because, you are what you are, and that's within you. So if you, try to think from that perspective, that it's already within you, you will definitely not take that step back. And as Nayan mentioned, yes, definitely it's an interesting subject and a topic, and we can have a lot of discussions on that.
True. So one thing to add to that is that planning is also part of it. What knocks your confidence is when something goes wrong, or you're late, or you're not on time. So first thing you would do is do a bit of time management, bit of better planning, better preparation. That will definitely help you in terms of confidence. Look, in industry, we have the same thing. What knocks our confidence is when you go somewhere and nothing's done on plan. Then, customers are disappointed, etc., etc. So how do you come across that? You do better planning. So that may be the first step, is do better planning, better time management, and then just move on, and then you can just keep going and chip away at it. It is a journey. It's not something where, we all face situations where you're confident on some things, like I'm confident talking to you guys, but maybe when I'm facing somebody else, I'm not confident. So it's an evolutionary thing. It is not a destination. Okay.
Okay, so we have a thank you message from Rutuja as well.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Yeah. So anyone else who still wants to ask some question? Any other retractor, any other participant who wishes to ask anything? Okay, then with this, we come to the end of our second session for today. Thank you, Rotarian Jiten, for your inputs, and Rotarian Nayan also for your inputs. It was really nice to be listening to you too, and knowing so much more about a different aspect of work, career, entrepreneur, and definitely all these things have brought a lot of knowledge, and hope Rotractors are benefiting from it. Now I would like to request Rotractor Shravika to introduce our third speaker for the day, Rotarian Ashish Baheti.
Thank you, Adim. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm audible properly.
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rotractor Shravika Chonde, delighted to take this opportunity to introduce our guest speaker, Rotarian Ashish Baheti sir. He's the director of NAV Investment Research Private Limited and Quant Express Technologies Private Limited. They are providing algorithm and electronic trading solutions to several hedge funds and proprietary trading desks. Mr. Ashish had worked with JP Morgan Bank and JP Capital as an analyst and portfolio manager. He also worked in Singapore and have traded US, London, and Indian markets, having a total experience of 13 years in capital markets. He has completed CA, CS, LLB, General, AFP. He also NSC certified market professional and also holds a certificate in Python and data science and financial risk manager Elvin from GARD. Now, I would like to request Ashish sir to share his valuable insights on finance and investing. Over to you, Ashish sir.
Oh. Yep. Hello. Okay. I'm there, but I cannot hear it. Give me a second.
Hello, Rotarian Ashish, are you there? Can you hear us? He complains of not being able to, he's not able to hear us. Shashikant, can you please look into this?
Hello.
Oh, yeah, he's here now.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Ashish, we can hear you. We can see
I
you.
can't
We can
hear.
hear you. Okay. But we can see you and we can hear you too. Maybe you just need to look at something on your volume.
Not able to hear.
Aarti, request if you could just give him a call on his mobile.
I called him and that's what he's saying, that he's not able to hear us. Or maybe he can rejoin once. I'll call him and tell him to rejoin. He has left the meeting. He'll be rejoining. I spoke to him. He'll rejoin.
What is B? Is it B? Similarly,
Hello.
Yes, Ashish, can you hear us now? We can hear you, Ashish.
Give me a second.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, Ashish, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. We can now see you. We can now hear you. Over to
Great.
you.
Great.
So were you able to hear us when we were having your introduction as well, Ashish? If you
No,
could
I
just...
couldn't, but that's okay.
Yeah, and if you want us to, like, we can have a...
No, we'll start. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Then you can start. Proceed.
Yeah.
Big welcome to you, and
Thank you.
let's have your session.
Thank you. So I'll be, I think there are almost 40 plus students around.
Yes.
Yeah.
And,
can I-
plus there could be some on YouTube live also.
Got it. So those who are present, so can we have a brief background, which background they are from? I mean, academically.
So I would say most of them are into engineering.
Okay.
But not all of them. Some could be from other institutes also, but predominantly engineering.
Okay, that's great. So my today's topic, I'll be trying to make it more interactive, not making much of the presentation stuff. So we'll try to make it more interactive. So I expect and I want all of the students to participate as much as they can through chat, or if they can just unmute themselves and speak on the questions which I ask. So today's topic is behavioral finance. Behavioral finance is relatively a new topic. When I compare it with money per se, I mean, finance and markets are an extremely old topic. When I say finance is as old as the humankind itself. Jab se humans have started interacting with each other through commercial terms, the finance is always there in some of the other forms. So be it a barter system or be it any other system. But behavioral finance is relatively a very, very new concept. When I say new concept, it's just 30-year-old. Economics was there, Chanakya has written economics, and there's been so many scholars who have written about economics in past. But behavioral finance is hardly 30-year-old. And there are only 5 or 7 people who have written very good stuff, and they've been awarded Nobel Prize on this subject. So this is relatively a new topic which is coming, and it is becoming more and more important because of our ever changing economy and dynamic economy. The world economy is being integrated. This is becoming more and more important. Okay. So since I'll share the screen. Can you give me the rights to share the screen? Okay.
I think you should be able to. You are one of the co-hosts. Oh, no, not yet.
Disabled participant screen.
Yeah, now just try.
Yeah. Yeah. So, is the screen visible?
It's visible.
Yeah. So when I say about economics, since most of you are engineers, economics is a subject matter. Economics is basically a subject where we try to study how the economy work, how the finance work, and everything. So anyone can tell me what are the basic assumptions in economics?
Demand and supply.
Demand and supply, yes, this is one right answer. More about it. So it is very important because that will set or create the base or the foundation of the whole conversation we are going forward from here. So this economics have all the theories, okay, and all the theories in economics, like we have economical theory ki agar kisi ke paas paisa badhta hai, so his expenses increases. So that's an economic theory. If your income increases, your expenses increases. The more the people will become rich, the more they'll spend on luxurious items. And these are the economic theories. Okay. And so every economic theory have a basic assumption. And what is that assumption? That assumption is that whenever it comes to finance, जब भी पैसे का बात आता है, or whenever it is about money, people take rational decision. Okay, people understand what they are buying, people know what they are doing, and they have doing extremely rational decision. But that is what behavioral finance challenges. Behavioral finance, on the other hand, says when it comes to finance or when it comes to money, people are not as smart as they think. Okay, their decision making is not as smart, and they'll not be doing rational decision making. Okay, to give you some example and illustration about that, we'll quickly jump into some games. Okay, so I want everyone to participate, and if you guys just some of the students can even switch on your cameras and mic also, that will be helpful in a way. So when I said behavioral finance is a relatively a new concept, and it is contrary to the conventional economic theories. Conventional economic theories बोलता है कि आदमी or everyone, every person is a very rational human being, and whenever it comes to money, we take rational decisions. So behavioral finance says it's not that way. Okay. So the game is very simple. The game is, this is a 20 rupee note. Okay. And I want you to do a bidding for this 20 rupee note. So we'll have, everyone can participate on this. Okay. And I want people to bid for this 20 rupee note. Whosoever would be the highest bidder will get this money from me. Okay. जो भी highest bidder रहेगा will get this money from me. But there's two catch. There's the one catch is जो भी second lowest bidder रहेगा, मतलब will have to pay me that much amount, whatever he is bidding for. Got it? So can we have some bidding round started?
What's the lowest we can bid?
0. I mean 1 rupee basically.
Okay. Let's go with 1.
Okay. So Aarti ma'am is paying me 1 rupee and she'll get a 20 rupee note. So any more bidder in the house?
3 rupees.
3 rupees. That's Arthav. Good.
Okay. 3.5.
3.5. So जो भी second highest रहेगा, he'll have to pay me that much amount. Okay. So I want everyone to participate. See, it's a very simple game, and there's nothing at stake for you in a way. We just want you doing this game to understand a little bit of more about the money. Yeah. So we have 3.5 rupees now bid.
4.
Sorry, 4. Okay.
4.5.
4.5. Nice.
5.
5. Who's this?
Mrunal.
Okay, 5. More.
5.25.
I mean, let's have a 1 rupee incremental because otherwise.
You didn't give us the slab.
Yeah. I mean, just for the sake of the game, let's have a 1 rupee incremental.
Okay, 6 rupees.
Yeah. So Mrunal is at 5. Ma'am is at 6.
Okay, 10.
So 8 rupees.
8 rupees. That's nice. So this Dushyant will be making 12 rupees out of this game right now. 8 rupee he has bidded, and he'll be getting a 20 rupee ka note from me.
9.
9.
10.
10.
Okay, 10.
13.
13. Harsh Tiwari is at 13, so he'll be getting 7 rupees. That's good.
15.
You got your catch already, Ashish.
Yeah. No. I mean, I'm still at loss.
Yes.
Yeah.
Soon you will not be at loss.
Yes. Yeah. So, any other bidder? Harsh is at 13 and Arthav is at 11.
Okay, 14.
14. Harsh is at 13, RTG at 14.
15.
15. Dushyant, yes. So
17.
17. Arthav, good.
18.
18. That's nice.
I withdraw.
Well, you don't have to. I mean, there are now 2 log phas gaye. So be 18 and 17. They're the 2 bidders. So RC Akurdi is at 18 and Arthav is at 17. So जो भी second lowest रहेगा bidding में, he'll be paying me
19.
that big amount.
19.
Okay, Arthav is at 19. Arthav is at 19. RC Akurdi is at
20.
20. Arthav is at 19. Okay. So Arthav will be paying me 19 rupees and he'll not get this note. RC Akurdi will be paying me 20 rupees and he'll get 20 rupee ka note. Any other bidding?
21.
21. Wow. Dushyant is at 21 and RC Akurdi at 20. So Dushyant will be paying me 21 rupees to get a 20 rupee note. And Akurdi will be paying RC Akurdi. So, I don't know iska RC Akurdi, what's the name. So I'm just saying.
So, I have a doubt, sir. So yeah. Second highest will pay the money.
Second highest will pay me the money.
And highest.
Obviously, highest will also pay me the money. The second highest will pay me the money and will not get anything. So the point of the game was, see, this is a 20 rupee note. It's very easy to value a 20 rupee note because we all know that what is the intrinsic value of this note. 20 rupees ka note ka value 20 rupees hai. Okay. But when it was available at less than 20, out of 40 people, only 4 people participated. Technically, everybody should have jumped. कि 20 रुपए की चीज अगर 5 रुपए में मिल रही है तो it was a clear no-brainer. It was a free money. 15 रुपए का फिर भी फायदा था. And जब generally when you play this game in an actual environment, physical environment, the bidding goes as high as 30-40 rupees also. Okay. So the point I want to drive here is, it is very difficult to value something. 20 रुपए का नोट जो कि simplest form है, इसमें there is no valuation involved, still we cannot value it in a proper way. जब वो intrinsic value इसकी जो 20 रुपए से कम थी, there were not many people who were participating in the bidding. And when bidding value went ahead of 20 rupees, still there were people bidding for it. Okay, so valuation is an art. Okay, when we comes to share market, it gets more and more difficult. ये तो 20 रुपए का note है. I am an analyst. I come on CNBC also. So to value a share, I'm sure most of you must be already having your demat account and must be already into markets. You must be already trading. Okay. To value a company like Reliance, it is almost virtually impossible that you can do it in less than 6 months, because it has 100 plus subsidiaries. Almost every country geopolitical situations in Reliance can get impacted because of the petrochemical and other businesses. So it is very difficult to pinpoint or precisely value a company. Okay. Second thing is pain of losing, is much greater than the joy of winning. The second guy was bidding because he didn't want it to lose, and that is what very common in stock market also. People are afraid of losing, and that's why they never use stop loss. They never cut their positions whenever they are in losses. So joy of winning, say, it's in fact there's a double the pain. If you get 100 rupee ka note on the street, you'll be just maybe happy for 5 minutes. But if you lose even 20 rupees, it fell from your pocket. It might screw your 1 hour. Here, when price was less than 20 rupees, technically everybody should have participated. And when price went above 20 or above, there should be, technically no one should bid. 20 रुपए का नोट जो फर्स्ट बिडर भी था, जिसने 21 रुपए या 22 रुपए दिए 20 रुपए के लिए, even he was at loss. So technically there's a concept of game theory. Okay, and based on that game theory, technically anybody should not have bidded above 20 rupees के नोट पे 20 रुपए से ज्यादा. Okay, so this was the first thing. We'll have one more game. So how many girls are there in the participants? Can we have 2 teams, girls and boys? Can we make it a little more interactive? See, the concept of money or that anything like related to topic like stock market, it will be only interesting if we can make it interactive rather than I just keep on speaking. So how many, can we make 2 teams of girls and boys?
Retractors, please participate. This is for you to take maximum benefit. Rutuja, are you all there, guys? Let's participate. I am having fun. I have really loved all the 3 sessions today.
So that's why 2 changes to 3.
Yes, retractors, please raise your hand. How can we make 2 teams here?
Yeah.
We are ready.
So how many girls are there in the group? Are there girls? I don't think. Okay, so let's make 2 teams based on based on, can we make teams based on your classes or something like that? First year, second year types, or all from the same batch, same year? Or can we have a team, Rotarians and Rotractors?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, so that will be good. I need distinct team. That's why I said girls and boys, but there's nothing like gender biasness. So we'll have 2 teams. One is the Rotarians and the another is the Rotractors. So I think there are 5-6 Rotarians must be there.
Yes, we are there.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay. So I'll be asking questions, and Rotractors and Rotarians will have to answer that question. Okay.
So do we have to raise our hand or we can directly pop up the answer?
You can directly, when I ask the questions to Rotarians, you can answer, and whenever I ask the questions to Rotarians, they can answer it. as and when whosoever knows the answer, that is okay. So what I'll do is I'll quickly make a Word file where I can store the points. Okay, I'll just quickly make 2 teams. So this is Rotarians. Just give me a second. So we have Rotarians, Tractors. Okay. So there are 2 teams, and let's see who gets how many points. Okay. So the first question is for the Rotarians. The first question is for, let's say, Rotractors. So what is the full form of, how many exchanges are there in India? How many stock market exchanges are there in India?
So
and,
2.
2. Okay.
NSE, BSE.
NSE, BSE, but there are more. If I'm
that's
the question is how many exchanges, not just including, not just for the equity, but other than equity also.
4.
Okay, name them.
Sorry, I don't know. NSE,
okay.
BSE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
NSE is one, that is National Stock Exchange. BSE is Bombay Stock Exchange. Then there is MCX, that is
Calcutta.
No, Calcutta Stock Exchange is closed.
Madras.
So scam 1992 mein tha shayad. But now it is all closed. So we have another exchanges, your MCX, and another is NCDX. So there are 4 basic exchanges, and then there are energy exchange and those exchanges. So I'll still give a point. I'll still give the point to the Rotractor. So there's 1 point to Rotractors. Okay. Rotarian, what is the full form of RBI? It is for the Rotarians.
RBI.
Reserve Bank of India.
Reserve Bank of India. Very good. So points for Rotarians. So I mean, these are not points. These are the chocolates which you'll be getting from me, whichever the team wins. So I'll be sponsoring these chocolates. Okay. Rotractors, a question for you. How many companies are registered on NSE?
Maybe 5,000.
Okay. How many companies are there in Nifty? That's it. That was a little tricky question, but how many companies are there in Nifty? Nifty 50 mein kitni companies hai?
So 50 companies.
50 companies, right? Okay. For Rotarians, where is the Nseca head office located?
Mumbai, Bandra Kurla.
This is for the Rotarians.
I think that's Mumbai.
Again, 2 points for Rotarians. Very good. Rotractors, where is the office of MCX located? In which part of the city? Bombay mein kahan par?
MC?
X, that is multi commodity exchange. So yeah, this question is for Rotractors.
Yeah.
Andheri, good. Okay. For Rotarians, where is okay, let me just see. What is the full form of BSE?
Bombay Stock Exchange.
Good. So okay, Rotractors ke liye another question. How many companies are there in the Sensex? That is the BSE mein.
So 20.
Nahin, you can use Google.
30.
30.
Okay. Rotarians, which is the biggest company in India? in terms of market capitalization?
Reliance.
नहीं, Rotarians के लिए है.
हाँ, Reliance.
Yeah, any Rotarian? Hello.
Reliance.
Yes. Okay. So last round, we'll see how much is the points, total points. Protractors. अभी Rotarians के 8 point हुए हैं, Protractors के 4 point हुए हैं. So Rotarians will be getting 8 chocolates from me, and Protractors will be getting 4 chocolates. Protractors. What is the full form of PEG ratio? PEG ratio. Full form of PEG ratio.
Price or earnings to growth ratio.
Price, earning, and growth ratio. Good. Okay. Rotarians के लिए, what is the full form of PL? When we say financials, जो PL and balance sheet and PL बोलते हैं तो profit and loss. Yes. So what's the total point, tally point?
10
Rotarians
to
will be getting 10 chocolates from me.
Yeah.
And Protractors will be getting 5 chocolates. Okay. So far, so good.
Yes.
Guys can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Okay. So our point so far is 5 chocolates for the Protractors and 10 chocolates for the Rotarians. How many of you did notice that the questions to Protractors was a little tougher?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And how many of you noticed that I gave 5 points to Protractors for answering the right question and gave 10 points to Rotarians for answering the easy question? Did anyone notice that?
Yes, sir.
And how many of you felt bad? How many of the Protractors felt bad about that? If there was a biasness or there was something wrong on the game? कितने जनों को बुरा लग रहा था? यार सबको. Okay. I mean, despite you winning and despite you getting 5 chocolates, you felt bad. So there's a quick video for you guys.
But हमने आंसर भी तो quickly दिए ना.
हाँ नहीं, but question answers बहुत easy थे.
इन्होंने गूगल धीरे चलाया, इनका गूगल जल्दी नहीं चला.
नहीं, I'll have a quick video.
Okay.
Audio is not getting. Wait, I think I'll play it from the YouTube. इसमें से शायद play नहीं हो रहा है. Give me a second. I'll stop sharing the screen. I'll just.
You can send it to Shashikant, sir. He'll play if you want that.
Should I put it on the chat box? Yeah, it's there now. Yeah. Sure. The screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
I think it is still not playing well. Shashikantji, I am sending you a link. If you can just play that video.
Okay, okay, just send me. I'll try.
मैंने chat box पे डाला है. Sorry. Sorry, कुछ गलत chat सेव गया है कॉपी वगैरह.
Copy paste गलत हुआ है.
एक सेकंड ना. Sending with the getting copied also. It's wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Stop sharing. Can you play, Shashikantji?
Shashikant, are you playing the video? Are we seeing the video? Yes, Ashish, you still want the video to be played?
Yeah.
Just waiting for Shashikant to. Ashish, Shashikant is telling that his system has hanged up.
Okay.
What was that video about? If we can just share in
Yeah.
brief.
So the video was an experiment on the monkeys where the experimenter gave one monkey the grapes and the another monkey some cucumber. So जिस monkey को grapes मिल रहा था, he was enjoying that, and the another monkey who was equally hungry, but he was getting annoyed because he was not getting the grapes.
Okay.
So the point was, we human, we think we are very smart, but whenever it comes to money and whenever it comes to things like fear of missing out, the FOMO action, we behave as in a similar way as what the animals would do or a monkey would do. We start behaving like we are not very rational or not very smart whenever it comes to that way. So inequality in humans and inequality in animals, they both react in almost in the same way. We don't behave very rational when it comes to money. So that was the whole message.
Okay.
So can we have a Q&A session type rather than because these game things are not going very well, I think. So it will be more fun if any of the participants would like to ask the question, and I can answer or related to market.
Yes, retractors, please, if you have questions, you can ask. Let's make the session interactive. I personally had never heard of this word behavioral finance, so found it really interesting to be a part of this session.
Can I get the link? Yeah. Share that link again. So how many of you guys are actually trading in market? I mean, the retractors. Does anyone have a Demat account?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 3 participants. Only 3. नहीं ये शायद this is not the ये second वाला if you can just play. शशिकांत जी ये नीचे वाला I think 2 monkeys.
फर्स्ट वाले का लिंक वापस भेजिए ना सर.
क्या बोल रहे हैं?
फर्स्ट वाले का लिंक वापस भेजिए बिकॉज आई लॉस्ट कनेक्शन तो चैट भी सारा चला गया है.
ओके. वही लिंक में आप क्लिक एक सेकंड ठीक है भेज रहा हूँ. मेरे यहाँ भी नहीं खुल रहा है अभी. ठीक है, I'll share that.
I'll try. One second.
It's not opening only at my end also.
Is it the same?
नहीं. No, not the. Yes, we can start the Q&A session rather than that. ये वाला.
Ashish, can I just say, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you asked a very important question. How many of you all have DMAT accounts? It's very important. I think me working primarily, I'm an engineer, never gave finance or the understanding of finance, even the basic finance, any importance. And now looking after this business, I realize finance is my weakness. And if I knew more about finance at an earlier stage, would maybe to make better decisions. You know, it's simple stuff too, but you're just not aware of it because we always looked at it in a very different way, like you've described. You know, we all can be very easily, is it bribed? You can always call it bribed, right? You look at the banks, the way they market it, you know? So I think it's very important. Actually, I've made a deal with my son because I want him to pick up some finance stuff. So he's not old enough yet, but he does it on my account. And I give him 1,000 rupees a month. Whatever he makes out of that 1,000 rupees investing in the market, he will keep, but he gives me the 1,000 rupees back at the end of the year. You know, so I think it's very important what you're trying to say. And I think all the students need to pay attention.
Yeah, I mean, it's I totally agree. And especially when it comes to money, we have a social taboo. We don't talk a lot about money, and we think anyone, in fact, you know, it's not been taught in a proper way which should have been taught. I mean, the schools have zero knowledge or pass on zero knowledge about the money, how it should be held and how it should be dealt with. And we have seen people, I mean, this currently the market is in a bull phase, so everybody is making money. But when the market collapses or the corrects, you know, people get panic attack. When 2020, when market was falling, and people were selling as if like there'll be no tomorrow, and even the value companies were getting sold off or they're getting chopped very butcherly. You know,
sure. So, you know, so basically there's two elements, isn't it? What you're talking about is a reserve cash where we can invest it. But there's also the other side to it where we need to manage our cash too from a daily point of view, which we don't have a clue about until you make the mistakes and then you learn from it.
And especially in India, there's not whole, you know, people think the investment, when it comes to investment, there's only one tool, which is FD. When it comes to, you know, the whole, I'll say that even the insurance is being sold as a product, which is as an investment product, whereas the name itself is it's an insurance, it means should be dealt as a risk mitigation product rather than an investable product. But in India, most of the people think insurance is an investment.
Yeah, because we don't know any different. We haven't been taught anything different.
Yes, and it's been missold. First, there's no awareness in the public per se, and then it's been missold by the people who are selling it or pitching it the product to you.
But they're pitching very well because it sells super high.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem, and that's what the problem occurs to everyone when we are at our retirement age. We realize that okay, we don't have insurance. I mean, in India is the most underpenetrated insured country. I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
Protractors, any questions? Any more questions?
So there are 5 retractors who said they are active in market or they have opened their DMAT account. What about the others? I mean, what do you think about stock market per se? If the retractors, can I ask those who don't have a DMAT account, आपको क्या लगता है? What is stock market? When you're buying a share, exactly what you're buying, and why the share value goes up or goes down?
In our education system, they should introduce this as one subject.
Yeah.
Share studies.
And
It
if
should
we knew the
be.
answer of that question, we'd all be millionaires. Why does it go up and why does it go down? It's very true.
I personally don't know about shares, she says.
Personally don't know about share market. Yeah. Because of supply and demand. Supply and demand, not exactly supply and demand, because see, the supply is always limited when it comes to stock market. The shares, number of available shares are always limited. Okay, so it is not because of supply and demand. That's a very broader term, I'll say, but it is more on the perception of how the company should do. It is not because of supply and demand, but it's more on the perception that creates the supply or that creates the demand. If I think tomorrow, the COVID is gone, then the hotels will going to reopen or the airline will going to do good. So because of that, the whole demand increases. See, supply and demand is the basic stuff, but why the supply comes, see, there's a limited number of shares always. It's not infinite shares. So the supply and the demand is being created because of the perception about what we think of the future about the markets. If we think kal wapas third wave aa raha, fourth wave aa raha, nobody will buy airline and hotel stocks. Nobody will invest in companies which are selling, which are of restaurant business. But if we think if everything is getting back to normal, we'll buy PVR or Inox ke shares. So supply and demand is created because of the notion of supply and demand is created because of the how we see the economy would be doing, because of the perception of the economy.
Yeah, very well said.
Yes, Rotractors, any other questions? Anything else you would like to ask?
Yeah, I'm really interested, but family doesn't allow. That's interesting because family doesn't allow. That is a big problem in India because first of all, the kids are not aware and their family themselves are not aware about the stock market. And they still think stock market is like a kind of a gambling or a casino. So that's, I mean, more than the retractors, I think we should have this broader discussion for the families per se. Because what I see, I mean, not just what I see, what the data is, almost every month, there are 30-40 lakhs accounts are getting opened in stock market. And out of this 40 lakh accounts or 4 million accounts, there are more millennials or more Gen Z are opening accounts. We still don't see the elderly people or the people born in 70s, 60s and 80s are still not active in the market. I mean, the younger generation are still very active. So Arthur, your point is very well reached that your families, most of the families are not well educated about this whole stock market. They think, see, when we buy a shares, we are not buying actually a piece of paper. We are investing in that company. When I'm buying Reliance or Bajaj Auto share, it is equivalent to I'm buying that company and I'm buying some fractional percentage ownership of that company. So what's wrong and why, I mean, why the family has to obstruct? I mean, what's wrong in buying Bajaj Auto company per se? Or what's wrong in buying HDFC company per se?
It's the stigma, isn't it? As you mentioned earlier, it's about it's looked upon as gambling. Because there's so many horror stories. We all know of somebody who started a career in that and they lost the money. So that's the problem, isn't it? People do it without any education or any knowledge, and they
knowledge of passive income is, I guess, less in India.
Yeah,
that as a ignorance. And
yeah,
they
but
want
I know plenty of friends and family who have made a very good, successful career out of just doing stock market. They used to work and they made some money. After that, they spend 2 or 3 hours on the computer every day, and that's their work, that's their life.
Yeah, I mean, see, there's this Arthur has written that family think that what will lose the money. See, it's not how can you lose the money if you're investing in a company. In the long run, the company should do good and the share value will automatically will do good. And what about losing money through putting it in FD? I mean, how many of you think like putting in money in FD is equivalent to losing money?
Yes, sir.
कितने जनों को लगता है कि when we put money in our FD, we are actually losing it?
I think.
See, if you have invested say 1 crore today in FD, after 1 year, you'll get 1 crore 4 lakh rupees. Okay, and that is also pre-tax. After paying, or let's say post-tax 1 crore 4 lakh rupees. आज अगर आप 1 करोड़ में एक फ्लैट खरीद सकते हो तो 1 साल बाद क्या आप 1 करोड़ 4 लाख में वो फ्लैट खरीद पाओगे सेम फ्लैट? That would be worth at least 1 crore 20 lakh rupees. So any which ways your money buying power has got reduced by putting it in FD. So it is equivalent of losing money. But we are okay with that because we think, or we've been taught that it is okay to lose money in FD, but it is not okay to grow your money through stock market. So what can be a 5,000 rupees portfolio? Because I'm just a beginner, I have recently started trading. 5,000 rupees portfolio can be any company which I'm actively using, any banks which I'm dealing with, any good banks in India, I would put my money in their shares, I'll say. The safest option. Yeah.
I was just trying to highlight the FD was the safest option, you know, as far as all.
It is more risky, I'll say. I mean, when you know that for sure you're going to lose the money, so it is more risky than becoming safe.
But I was coming from parents. If you ask parents, they'd say FD le lo, nahi to gold le lo. Two things.
Again, gold is the one myth most of the Indians have. We think we bought gold and gold value will going to go on increasing. See, we are not actually buying gold when we say we bought gold. The gold value doesn't change so much in the past. It's only because our Indian currency has depreciated. That's why the gold value has moved. If you see the gold, in 2011, gold value was around 1900 USD for 1 troy ounce. And today also it is close to 1900 USD 1 troy ounce. So internationally, gold value has not changed. In 2011, our currency was around 45. Now it has moved to 75. So that 30 rupees of difference of currency has made the whole difference in the gold value. So gold has not changed. It's just that currency has depreciated, which has made that gold look expensive. So अगर आप dollar लेके भी रखते अपने account में, तो we would have made the same money. If you bought dollar at 40 and would have sold at 75, the percentage of return would have been the same as what you've got in gold.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. Yeah, dollars. Yeah. So a lot of insights given by Ashish. Thank you so much. We really enjoyed the session, games, and all just created a different scenario. So any more questions? Anybody?
Yes, ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as we are young and we have a time to research and all that stuff, so we should go for trading or investing, because trading is a little bit risky.
See, Dushyant, it is very easy to make money, or in fact, I'll say it is very difficult to lose money in investing. It is very difficult. I'll repeat my word. It is very difficult to lose money in investment, and it is very difficult to make money in trading. So you should always do investments, which is very safe. There is, when you do investment, you will not be bombarded with the volatility. Daily price movement will not impact you. If you're holding a company for 5 years, it will be much easier to make money. But if you're just holding that company for 5 minutes, it will be much difficult to make money out of it. So obviously investment is the one thing which all of you should do, and trading is something which all of you should avoid at this point of your career. First, start with your investment career. At least spend 5 years in the market with the investment portfolios. Grow that portfolio, and from that, maybe after 5 years or after at least 3 years minimum, detach 10% of your investment capital and then use that for trading. But not before that. At least not before 5 years.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Any more questions?
Should we go for IPOs?
Should you go for IPOs? I would say no. Don't go for IPOs because see what happens in IPOs. Usually the company have already priced their product or priced their share very heavily. So there's very limited chance that there's much room left. And secondly, a good IPO would be oversubscribed by 300 times, 400 times, or 200 times. So your chances of getting an IPO allotment is very less. It's 1 in 200. मतलब 200 जनों में से सिर्फ एक जनों को मिलने वाला है. So it is as I'll say it's like buying a lottery ticket. 200 जनों में से सिर्फ एक ही नंबर को फंसेगा, एक ही नंबर मिलेगा. So it's better you should look, if your IPO is coming, you should look what are the available listed companies available. Say if an IPO coming for an insurance company, okay, so there are other insurance companies available, and then you can see which is the best insurance company to invest rather than putting your money into the IPO.
Any more questions?
Sir, can you tell what portion of money should we invest?
What portion of money should you invest? Ideally, what they say is whatever is your age minus 100, 100 minus your age, that should be your investment in equities. So say if your age is right now is 20, so 100 minus 20, that is 80. So 80% of your wealth should be in equity. And if your age is say 40, so 60% of your wealth should be in equity.
And when can the benefits be reaped?
It should be passed on to the next generation. Best.
Okay.
That's how you create fortune.
Yeah.
See,
Sounds
Warren
interesting.
Buffett is 91 years old and he's still investing for the longer term.
Yeah.
And he started investing at the age 13. So, and that's how somebody can grow, become like, make his fortune of $100 billion plus.
It's like planting a tree today so that fruits can be borne by later on generations. Amazing, amazing. We really had a great session. So now I think it's time to wind up the session. And I would call Shashikant, Rotarian Shashikant, to please come and close the session, give the closing remarks.
Yeah, thank you, Atiji. So, President Rotarian Gauravji, Director Youth Rotarian RTG, today's speaker Rotarian PP Jitendra Sharma ji, Rotarian Nayan Patel, and Ashish Baheti ji, and all the Rotarian present here, Rotaractors and students. So we are now at the end of this half-day Raila. And it rightly mentioned by the President Gauravji, when we were planning for this Raila, the most important thing was to decide the relevant topics. And we thought that, especially Jituji suggested that not to go with general topics such as personality development and body language and etc. All these routine regular topics. So we decided the entrepreneur in you is the professional world ready for you, and behavioral financing and investing. So we deciding diversified topics which are practically useful in day-to-day life and will be useful in your day-to-day life when you practically enter in your professional life, either be as an entrepreneur or as an employee of a big company. And whatever you earn, you have to save and invest in proper manner. So I hope you all get benefit of and experience and knowledge of all the speakers. So my dear friends, this session is just a small part of your journey, and we would like to have many this kind of session either physically or virtually, depend on the situation. but definitely we'll have some kind of sessions again. So thank you from my side. Over to Youth Director Rotarian RTG.
Thank you, Rotarian Shashikant. I would like to now present the vote of thanks. Really thankful to all our speakers today present here, Rotarian Jitin Sharma, Rotarian Nayan Patel, and Rotarian Ashish Bhayatiji. It was a great experience. I personally enjoyed it thoroughly, and not being because the youth director, but as an individual, I really enjoyed the sessions and could take out a lot of insights from it. Hope all the Rotarians also had a great time and they learned relevant skills which were different and new to the coming times. So hereby we would like to conclude the session. Once again, I thank everyone, our president and all the team that has worked towards conducting this session. Thank you all. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.